guys, just wanted to do a quick check-in. I'm participating in FaulknerinAugust, which everybody there is reading The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner. This is my first novel of Faulkner. I've read some of his short stories. Most of the ones that I've read are in the Portable Faulkner. Most of them you can actually find free somewhere, like a free domain. But I've been taking notes. So currently we're halfway through. There's 4 chapters. There's the Benji chapter, the Quentin chapter, the Jason chapter, and then the narrator or possibly Dilsey's chapter. So I'm generally about halfway through. This is my actual bookmark, and this is where the next chapter is. So it kind of kept me an idea on that. This story, I don't know if I've ever approached a story and been so interested, but also so confused. It was like you get Benji's perspective, and he's mentally handicapped, so he has no frame of time. So you're going back and forth between memories, and I had a hard time keeping it all straight. That was one of the things that I struggled with most, I think. I've watched some analysis on the parts that I've already read, and once the analysis is clear and you look at it, you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, there's a part in the beginning where they're talking about they're hitting. I had no idea what they were hitting. I even wrote, one of my tabs was, what in the world are they hitting? And you get these crazy different time jumps. And I think you start out and you've got Benji. He's 33. It's his birthday. It's Christmas or close to Christmas. I'm not 100% sure. And they're outside. They're telling him, hey, keep your hands in your pockets so your hands don't get cold. He immediately walks up, puts his hand on this metal fence, and his hands are freezing. They make him put his hands back in his pockets. And the next thing you know, they're swimming in a branch, which, kind of country talk there, but a branch is a creek, like a branch of the, it kind of looks like a branch, I guess, if you're looking high up. And so, that's when I started to realize that the time was moving around. And through watching some analysis, you get him at 5, I believe, and then you get him at 10, and then you get him at 33. In these moments in his life are bouncing back and forth. You may even get him in another time period that I didn't pick up on. His mother doesn't really care for him. They change his name at one point. I immediately thought, I'm going to have to read this whole thing, and then I'm going to go and reread it, at least Benji's part, to kind of see if I get the idea of what's going on. Quentin's part's up in, he's in Harvard at the time, and he's flashing back from memories, some of the same memories that Benji had, mostly about, I even wrote it right here, need to reread this chapter. So we do Benji's part, and that is, what's the date on that one? April 17th, 1928. And then you go to Quentin's part, it's June 2nd, 1910. So, 18 years later. So all of this that's happening with Quentin is 18 years before Benji's 33. As we look at this, it starts out with this really cool quote. All right. I don't suppose anybody ever deliberately listens to a watch or a clock. You don't have to. It can be oblivious to the sound for you can be oblivious to the sound for a long while. Then, in a second of ticking, it can create in the mind, unbroken, the long diminishing parade of time you didn't hear. I thought that one really stuck out to me. And through Quentin's whole part, he talks about time. He talks about walking over his own shadow, like trampling on his shadow. He goes through this whole part, and you kind of knowing what he does at the end when he commits suicide, but you don't actually see him commit suicide. It looks like he's preparing, like he's giving letters to people. He's trying to just make it through his day to go commit suicide, right? And I was reading his part, and he does this frame of consciousness kind of thing, where I think I went 3 or 4 pages without a period. It's just crazy. He has this moment where I believe he's on a train, and he sees this black guy, right? And he says he's got a vacant seat beside this N-word. He wore a derby, shined shoes, and he's holding a dead cigar stub. I used to think that a Southerner had always be conscious of black people. I thought, and he says it the N word. I thought that Northerners would expect him to be. When I first came to the East, up to Harvard, I kept thinking, you've got to remember to think of them as colored people, not the N word. And he pretty much ignores the guy. Um, but then he thinks back to um, he really missed Roscus, who is Dilsey's husband, and Dilsey when he moved up to the north. And then he has another moment where he's thinking about a black man that was pulling a cart with a donkey, and he had a whole interaction with him where um, he gives the man some money to go buy a Christmas present. Um, and Brian from Bookish was talking about how this whole interaction was very, very racist. Um, I didn't realize it at first when he was talking about it. I kind of thought it was Quentin was trying to change who he was when with the I have to think of them differently. That like he was trying to put away his racism from the South. But Brian was saying that that's not the case. That he holds on to this racist way of thinking. So I think I'm just gonna have to reread the whole book after I get done. And then he has a whole moment where he has this little girl, and she's like a little Italian girl, and she comes into the store to buy a loaf of bread, and like the lady doesn't want to serve her at the counter, the baker, I guess. And so he's like, no, she's okay. She can buy this bread. Bought her some bread, brought her sticky rolls, and then she starts following him around town. He's calling her sister, and he's through this whole process having memories of his interactions with Caddy, and their relationship's really weird. Like at one point, he has a knife to her throat, and I thought he was trying to say that I'll kill you, then I'll kill myself. Kind of like I love you so much that I can't let because Caddy was losing her virginity and stuff, and kind of being promiscuous. So I thought it was a situation where he couldn't stand it that he would kill her and then he'd kill himself, and it was like Caddy wanted him to, but she didn't think he had the courage to do so. I just don't understand their relationship. I don't understand it at all. From what Brian was saying, that the incest never happened, but Quentin wanted you to think it did. I thought it happened, and that like the Herbert guy was coming in saying, I know your secret, because he was like, when the way she talked about you was like she'd talk about a boyfriend, and I guess she ends up marrying Herbert, and so I was all over the place. And then like there was this Dalton Ames, and he's holding his hands on her neck, and he at one point she says, say his name and it'll let you know if I love him or something like that. And like her pulse quickened every time he said her name. There was just like so many. I just couldn't keep up. I think that's what the problem is. I think I'm steadily in the boat that says I have to read this again because I don't get it. But like Quentin's part. Oh, talking about the little girl. So she follows him around, right? And he's trying to find her home, like all over town. He's like, "Where's this girl from? Where is she at?" And takes her to like the Italian side of town, maybe an Italian slum. I can't really tell. And he gets to the end of the lane and he can't find her house, so he like either tells her, "Hey, look over there," and then he runs off. And then she finds him again. Like when he stops running, she's there. She finds him again. And her brother comes up and tackles him and punches him in the face or something. And the police officer's like, "We've been looking all over for you." And Quentin, had been looking for the police officer, sort of, kind of, not really looking for him, but kind of looking for him, to give the girl back. Like, "Hey, look, I don't know. This girl's not speaking to me at all, and she's just following me." I'm like, "Hey, where's your house?" She's like, and man, I just. And the blackguard, Caddy, that blackguard, Caddy. What is the blackguard? I don't know. I mean, I made so many notes on this one because I sat there and I highlighted these moments because I want to come back to them. I actually remarked that I feel like this little girl's an orphan, and that's why she's following him. Well, she wasn't. She had a brother. What's this tab? So here's the whole part where he flashes back to Caddy going off into the woods by herself, and there's like a whole part where he's talking about like the smell of honeysuckle, and then Benji had a moment where he always thought that Caddy smelled like trees, and that when she started smelling like perfume, he felt like he'd lost her, and then Quentin with this honeysuckle, he laid on the ground and like put his nose in the dirt so he could only smell dirt, not smell honeysuckle, and stop thinking about her. Quentin tries to defend her honor, and Dalton Ames like pulls out a pistol, throws a piece of bark in the river, shoots that piece of bark, and then shoots the broken piece that he shot the second time. Then he hands the gun to Quentin like, "Can you do any better?" And so Quentin backs down and doesn't defend her honor. He just really feels emasculated. And then I don't know how. I know from everybody talking about it that Quentin commits suicide, but he puts gasoline all over his vest, and then has a whole moment with gasoline. And I don't know what he did to commit suicide. Did he light himself on fire? So I'm starting part 3 tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. Yeah, Monday. And I'm hoping that I understand more. If not, I'm just gonna watch a bunch of other people's videos that tell me what I'm going through here. But this is the library copy, so I'm gonna pull all these tabs out of it. But Alan sent me a copy of it. Alan's a good man. He's great with harmonica too. I just watched his video on that. And I'll keep listening to Brian and the Codex Cantina and their analysis on this, because I admit it, I'm lost. So, Sound and the Fury, William Faulkner. Hopefully I understand more in the second half. Part 3 starts Monday, and we'll do part 4 the week after that. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.